So can Meath stop Dublin's try for five on Sunday? The TG Carr All-Ireland Ladies Football Final throws in at 4:15 in Croke Park, and former Waterford attacker Michelle Ryan is on the line to tell us more. And I suppose, Michelle, Meath have been the story of the summer so far. How have the Royals made the All-Ireland final in their first year back up senior?
They've definitely been the story of the summer in ladies football terms. And, to those of us who have been tuning into the games and being involved and in watching the games and analysing games over the last while, this isn't a massive surprise, to be honest. I know they were incredibly disappointed to lose 2 intermediate finals. They rectified that last December, and they have become a different animal coming up to senior. You could see by them during the league stages that they really wanted to establish themselves as a senior team and not to be in danger of going back down. And they've done exactly that. I mean, what other team can really say? I think maybe Armagh in the mid-noughties, because are the only team who can say they went directly from an intermediate All-Ireland win to a senior final. And look, it's fully deserving. To be honest, it has to be said. They play with an energy, and the teamwork involved out there is incredible. There's a unity out there. There's a belief in their system that they're playing in. We've seen some who have now become some real household names in Meath that are top class footballers. Some of them very, very young, which is, I mean, I remember watching Emma Duggan in 2019 in an intermediate semi-final, and she was a standout player then. I mean, the girl is only 19, 20. Do you know what I mean? So she and to say that she was a standout player in that senior final versus Cork is an understatement. So I think it's a combination of those things, and I think their manager Eamon Murray deserves a huge amount of credit, because a lot has been made of their absolute, I suppose, being trashed a few years ago when they were in the senior in 2016 or 2015, I think it was, and live on television, and how they've managed to go down and regroup and come back as a force they have. And Eamon Murray, I think, has been with them over the last 3 years, and he has really built something there that they believe in. And look, there's no doubt that they have the footballers, but having the belief in what you're doing goes a massive, massive way.
And they really showed that belief in the semi-final, Michelle, because they were 2 goals down with 2 minutes left of that semi-final against Cork, levelled it and won it after extra time. How much confidence will they take from that?
Massive confidence, the most. To be honest, I think they're playing with confidence anyway, and they that's clear to be seen. But that was an incredible achievement by them in the dying moments against one of the most established senior teams of the last 20 years. And I think, for those of us who know Cork so well, I mean, they've won 11 All-Irelands. We all know that. But during those 11 All-Irelands that they would have won, 6 of them were only won by a point or two. And we used to become so accustomed to that stage in the match in the last minute or two, when they would hold on to the ball, be so safe in possession, and there was just no getting it off them. And there was an inevitability of the countdown to the final whistle. And when that Meath managed to overturn that in the semi-final. I mean, like you said, less than 5 minutes left, they're 7 points down. A lot of people would be thinking there's too much to do here. They didn't think that. They clawed it back. And uncharacteristic of Cork, coughed up possession and were very uneasy with possession in front of their own goal to allow Meath to do that. But Meath capitalised on that. There was no mistaking it. And the more then going into extra time, that belief just grew and grew. And the main players, I've mentioned Emma Duggan already, like Samora O'Shaughnessy, Vicky Wall, Emma Troy, Stacey Grimes. I mean, they all are contributing to it. So there is no doubt, but they have massive confidence. And at the end of the day, what a great position to be in to come this Sunday. They have absolutely nothing to lose. Nothing to lose at all.
Absolutely, Michelle. And like you mentioned, the likes of Emma Duggan, Vicky Wall, standout players from Meath. Looking on the Dublin side, former rugby international Hannah Tyrrell has been added to their ranks this season, was player of the match in the semi-final. What sort of difference has she made to the Dubs?
I mean, the thing is, when you think Dublin, where can they get better? And there was talks of them losing certain players at the start of the year. And I mean, I've always said that one massive thing about Dublin is they have that depth in their squad and that player availability that everyone is able to fill everybody else's shoes. But then along comes Hannah Tyrrell, obviously from a footballing background previously, and had gone to the international rugby setup. But I think what's remarkable about her filling back into the Dublin setup is the ease and the speed with which she adapted back, and the impact that she was able to have straight away. So her reading of the game, her versatility as a player, her athleticism, her accuracy in front of goal. She's just a very dangerous all-round player, and there's no doubt but she has been one of the key players in that attack for Dublin, and she's got player of the match on numerous occasions. She's gotten individual awards throughout the year, and they're all very well deserved. So she is a massive player for them. And one thing about them, though, with Dublin, this is what Meath are going to have to be very careful of, and no doubt they'll be very aware of. It's never just a one-man show or a one-player show with Dublin. Even when you're talking about the girls that they spring off the bench, there's an impact all the time. Mick Bowen never lets the momentum drop, and if he feels somebody is underperforming, he's very quick to make those changes because he knows someone is there that's well able to fill their shoes. So while Hannah Tyrrell is a massive player, and I've no doubt will have a big say in proceedings on Sunday, it would be very much to Meath's detriment to focus in on one or two players.
Why have Dublin become the dominant force in ladies football, Michelle, taken over from Cork over the past couple of years?
Well, they were there for a long time, threatening to us. I mean, the last three All-Irelands that Cork won, 2014, 2015, 2016, they beat Dublin each time. And like I mentioned, there was only a point or 2 points between them. So they were coming good. And it was Jeffrey McGonigal who was in charge of them back then. He brought in a great structure to them. Even any of the players, if you ever read any interviews or talk to, he really brought in a fantastic ethos within the team, a work rate within the team. They had a talented group, and they always just felt that they were just that little bit short. I do think Mick Bowen plays an absolutely massive role in the success of Dublin, and I know he is built on the management that went before him, and obviously he knew some of the girls from his previous period working with them. But I think what he has brought and the leadership he brings with his management team and what he instills and the standards that he instills and expects of them. And even when you hear him talk in interviews, he's a very interesting man to listen to, because he's very, very honest. It's not very cliche full when you're talking about his interviews and so on. He's very honest, and you can see by him, he has brought a structure whereby it is not the management dictating necessarily everything to the players now. The players it's very player-led. The leaders within their group, I suppose the more senior members of the panel are very much, to the fore when it comes to dictating what happens on the pitch and taking things by the reins when they need to. And when you have that in a team and the younger players come in, they buy into that. They're following the example set by the players rather than by the management. And it just feeds into it, and everybody is aware of the standards that are there, and if they don't meet them, then they know that they don't expect to be playing. And I think it seems like everybody is treated very fairly. If you're not performing well, you're not playing. He has made big calls in big games. In All-Ireland finals, he's dropped people that maybe would have been household names at times, so I think I have to say a huge amount of his success is down to that, and what he has created within that setup, that now maybe it is very much player-led, but that came from him.
Will they complete the 5 in a row on Sunday, Michelle?
What a story it would be if Meath were to win the Senior All-Ireland in 2021. It would be incredible. But look, I think my head is definitely telling me that Dublin are favourites for a reason, and more than likely will be All-Ireland champions come 6 o'clock or 5:30 on Sunday. But I suppose what I would love to see is how long into this game Meath can really put it up to them. And I know that Dublin are going to treat them with the utmost respect. And I know even from listening to the interview before the Cork Meath semi-final, that Mick Bowen half suggested he wouldn't have been too surprised if Meath were going to come through that semi-final. So he's very aware of how they play and how they've been progressing. And Meath have, as I mentioned, a very, very I suppose, strong and powerful structure to their play where positions don't mean anything. Everybody gets back and defends, and everybody kind of goes on this free flow attack. How long they can resist Dublin's, I suppose, resilience. They're very resilient. They can be slow and they can be patient, and then they attack when the opportunity has. I'm just eager to say how that system plays out against the like of Dublin, and for how long they can withstand the numerous stress that exists within the Dublin team. Personally, I think it's going to be a Dublin victory. I'm not going to say that it's going to be a runaway Dublin victory. I don't believe that, but I do think it's going to be a Dublin victory.
Yeah, so Dublin strongly fancy to make it 5 in a row in the TG Cahir All-Ireland Ladies Football Final, 4:15 throw-in at Croke Park, Dublin versus Meath. And Michelle, one more topic that I want to ask you about. It was recently announced that you'll be part of the management team for the underdogs this year on TG Cahir alongside Kevin Cassidy from Donegal and Mickey Ned O'Sullivan from Kerry. Can you explain the concept of the underdogs to our listeners?
Yeah, well, look, I suppose the underdogs is around a long time, to be honest. It's around a very long time. And I remember actually a ladies football team were a part of it in I think it was 2007, 2008, maybe. But the concept of it is a program that is produced by Adair Productions for TG Cahir. And the idea is that players who have not played county or not been selected for their county team, or maybe have previously been on their county team and have been dropped or failed to make it back into that setup, that they are given the opportunity to come together, create a panel, train and prepare like an inter-county team, and take on one of the top inter-county teams in the country at the end of that process. And, I suppose the thing about it is it's been mainly in the men's side of things. There's been hurling, and there's a lot of the men's football teams have been featured on this program over the years. And there have been some big names who've come out through this process. The likes of Kieran Donaghy was originally an underdog before he made it onto the Kerry senior team. Pierce O'Neill of Cork also was an underdog before he made it onto the Cork setup. So there have been pathways made for players. And look, I'm thrilled this year that it's ladies football is the focus. And that, when I going into this process, I was in no doubt that there had to be incredible talent around the country that weren't on inter-county teams, considering the growth of ladies football over the last number of years. And look, everyone will have to just tune in and see the growth and the progress and the strength that's there. And, hopefully it'll be a good show, as well as providing a massive opportunity for the girls that are part of it.
When will it hit our television screens, Michelle?
As far as I'm aware, there's no official date yet, but it's due to be on television sometime around the end of October. We've been filming now for quite a number of months, and it's still ongoing. But the aim is for it to be on TG Cahir at the end of October, so right through the winter season.
Great stuff. Well, former Dacia attacker Michelle Ryan, thanks so much for your time today, and enjoy the All-Ireland finals on Sunday.
Thanks a million, Tomas.
Lorna Porca with Tomas McCarthy on WLR.